Hi, and welcome to the wrongest of ways. And this is the Beam Virgo, a new age modern helmet designed with electric bikes, electric scooters, and other forms of electric mobility in mind. What is it like to use? Well, let me tell you more about it. Now, I did get this helmet sent by the Beam team to me for free, but this is not a paid review. I mean, they send me the helmet so I can test it out, but I can also keep it. But as with all of my reviews, my EUC reviews, other reviews, I'll tell you all the pros and cons about using this device. I mean, not device, this helmet. So I have been using this helmet for the past 2 weeks, and thanks to the wonderful team at The Beam, I was able to be one of the first people in the world to actually use one of those helmets and test them out. So in this video, it'll be a little bit of a freshly charged style. I'll tell you about the things I did like about this helmet and the things I don't like as much about it. With that said, let's start with an overview. So The Beam is a new company, and they have been making a bit of accessories before. They're based in France, but the helmet is made in China. With the Virgo lineup of helmets, they are trying to reach a market of scooters, faster e-bikes, EUCs, etc. Because frankly speaking, I've tested over maybe 60, 70 helmets, motorcycle helmets, bicycle helmets, all kinds of helmets, and it's very tough to find something that is specifically designed for this niche. When it comes to certifications, this is a bicycle helmet, which is rated with the new norm for e-bikes. So this is actually good enough for 45 kilometers an hour and also has the usual bicycle certification. However, I was asking them if the chin piece has a certification, and currently, no, it doesn't. They are currently working on it. So for me, as a sort of customer or user, I take it as the chin piece just is there, but it's not certified. The helmet comes in 4 different colors. There is a white one, black, sandy sort of, or like off-white, and this blue color, which hello in Germany, which I very much do like. I think it's a very, very pretty color. They come in at around 160 euro. I was looking at their site just today.
All right, so quick update on the pricing. I got a little bit confused. So it turns out the Virgo integral helmets have the visor included, and therefore 219 euro and 299 euro. And they also come with a rear light. And then the Virgo Access helmets don't have a front visor and don't have a rear light, and they're the cheaper ones.
If you want to have more safety, like get the MIPS version. With that said, it's not a bad price for a helmet with a visor and the necessary certifications. The helmet comes in 3 separate shell sizes, but there's more sizes themselves available. So there's a junior size for your kids, then there's 1 shell size for S, and then there's also 1 shell size for M and L. Now, it is a bit different than your motorcycle sizing, as the L size is actually even a XL in motorcycle sort of terms, up to 63 centimeters circumference, and the smallest one is to 51 centimeters circumference when it comes to adult helmets. The junior one is even smaller. So the difference between the M and the L will be the EPS liner and the padding, not the polycarb shell itself. You can adjust your size precisely to your liking with this roller adjustment knob here in a bag. It is also the lightest full-face helmet with a visor that I've ever tested. Now, on their site, the Beam is claiming a weight of 600 to 650 grams, depending on the shell size. But on the helmet itself, I see 710 grams. Now, I weighed it with the visor, and then it's 770. But don't be fooled, this is amazingly light. You don't feel this thing on your head pretty much at all. When it comes to motorcycle helmets with a visor, they start at around 1,200 grams, the absolutely lightest, but most of them are between 1,300 grams and 1,500 grams. When it comes to bicycle helmets with the visor, where there's pretty much nothing available, you just have a half shell helmets with a visor, like for example by Uvex, I believe, and some other companies. The visor itself has 3 operation modes. It's easy to change, and this one is a tinted one, but you can also get it with a clear visor. You can also get some accessories with it, which I'll talk about later, like for example the light, different visors, and also some earmuffs. So first, let's talk about the things I like about this helmet. First of all, I really like the design. Now, for me, it's pretty tough to design a helmet that actually looks good and is designed for bicycles. Some of them can look pretty dorky. Some of them just don't have enough airflow, like the TSG that you have on your head right now, Taju. But this one just it looks really cool, especially with the tinted sort of chrome-esque looking visor in the front. From the back, it also looks cool, especially with the light on. Second thing I really like about this helmet is that it doesn't really feel like a full face helmet at all. Now, when I put it on and I go like this into a store, it feels like almost like a half shell. Like you can very normally talk to other people. It's very open, it's very friendly, and that's something I really like about a helmet that is full face. But then again, you have the perfect field of view. You're very approachable, and yeah, that's kind of cool.
The friendliest helmet around.
The friendliest full face helmet around. You are correct, Taju. The visor is, well, one of the key trademarks of this helmet, and it's another thing I really like. So this is very comfortable for your glasses wearers because it's just much easier to use than goggles. And at the same time, you have a lot of airflow because it doesn't come all the way down. So even at those lower speeds that we're typically riding in the city, between 20, 40 kilometers an hour, this is just a very comfy solution. There ain't much distortion in the visor either. You can look. Maybe I can put it over the camera. Hopefully you can see something, but there isn't much distortion in it. However, there is a little bit of a weird color shift in this visor in particular. So on the top it's more bluish, on the bottom it's more greenish. It feels a bit, 70s vibe, smoking or like snorting stuff. Very psychedelic, but you can get used to it, and a visor in a light bicycle helmet, well, I'm all for it. Ventilation is another thing I really like on this helmet, especially compared to motorcycle helmets with visors. This thing is very, very breathable. Maybe it's not as breathable as a Fox Pro frame or a different sort of downhill designed mountain bike helmet, but still you have those 5 air ducts on the top. There is some air coming in through these holes on the bottom. Your ears are completely open, so you can hear more, and your ears are cooler, I guess. And then you have also 4 additional vents in the back. And the air can also somewhat, I guess, escape through the back here, but yeah, and there's also air ducts in between here. Maybe you can see it, like air channels. So it's a pretty well ventilated helmet. Again, not the most ventilated helmet that I've ever owned, but still plenty good for this weather that we have here, about 25 degrees Celsius, even with this dark color. Another thing I really like about this helmet is the weight. Once again, as initially said in the overview, it is one of the lightest helmets with a visor that I've ever tested. Now, it is a little bit front heavy, probably because of the visor, so it will pull you slightly towards the front, but still, you pretty much don't feel it at all on your head. It's super light and super convenient. Additionally, another thing that I like, which you can see here, is that the strap has a small little soft sort of cushion here. Not every helmet has that, so it's a nice attention to detail. Now, I wanted to talk about audio, but well, we don't have audio in the helmet. We have more of a wind noise always. So this is something very important to me in helmets. And here with the ears sort of sticking out, I thought it would be a big issue, but actually it's not. So you hear a level of noise somewhere in between a full face downhill helmet and a open face helmet. So it's much better than a open face helmet in that regard. And I'm also pretty happy that there is the chin piece for protection, and in general this helmet is sitting pretty low around your neck area, around your head. So in terms of a fall to the side, to the back, I feel actually pretty safe. When it comes to the front, well, I'll talk about that in my cons section. Another thing I like is the accessories that you can buy for this helmet. Now, not only is there a plethora of accessories for this helmet, like the additional visors, the ear cups, the tail light, and even extra padding, they're also kind of reasonably priced. So the extra padding is just like 13 euro. The light is, I mean, it's 30 euro, so it's not the cheapest one, but then again, it's pretty bright and it's bespoke for the helmet. I would imagine that they could charge far more for these accessories, but they don't. And last but not least, when it comes to the pros, is the price. And I gotta tell you guys, I think that the Beam priced the Virgo pretty fairly. So you get not only a sort of full face, or like I would say half full face. Can you even do half full face? I don't know. Bicycle helmet, while for a similar price, you can just get a helmet without a visor, a full face helmet without a visor. And then you also need to purchase goggles, and maybe you don't even like goggles in the first place. Now, those other downhill helmets will have a different set of characteristics, but still, with all of the stuff that you get with the Virgo, I don't think that they are really pricing it too highly, expensively, steeply. Yeah. But with that said, it is not a perfect helmet, and throughout the 2 weeks that I have been using it, I have found some cons to it, so let's talk about them now. A quick disclaimer, this helmet is one of the first production units they made, so while they can't change the mold itself, a lot of the nooks and crannies, the cons sort of I mentioned in this video, will be addressed and are actually currently being addressed. So keep that in mind, stay tuned for updates on this helmet, and let's get into the cons. So the first thing has got to be the padding, and I don't know how much the Beam will improve the padding in its future iterations, or it will just stay like that. Well, first of all, the cheek pads, they're small, and I'm not sure if they will hold you up properly in a crash, and they're just flopping around, like I'm not even kidding. They're barely holding on, and every time I put on the helmet, they go up, especially the right one. So I think this shouldn't be just one strip of Velcro here, maybe 2 strips, or in an optimal situation, just buttons like you usually see on bicycle helmets or motorcycle helmets. And when it comes to the padding inside of the helmet, it is very sparse. There isn't much of it, and therefore this helmet is actually too big for me currently, even though it is my size. So I believe that with the correct padding, I would have the helmet sitting about like this, which properly sort of faces the chin bar and the visor in front of my face, but it sits like this. So it is sort of like a L now, and even though I can adjust it here, it still doesn't change that it is sitting, like in my opinion, just slightly too low. Because when I put it like this, then the roller in the back is digging into my skin. So I've actually asked the Beam to send me some additional padding, and they will also send me some further accessories so I can take a second look on this helmet. So I already touched upon this, but the roller in the back here, it doesn't have any sort of like padding underneath. So if you don't have any hair there, it will dig into your skin and it's not as comfortable. So when I'm wearing the helmet, I got around to just wear it in a way where it's comfortable to me. But I think this part either deserves some more padding or it needs to be higher up. And then maybe it will not dig so much into your neck area. Next up, let's talk about safety. And probably you're considering this helmet because you want something safer than a open face helmet. Now, the thing is, I fell quite a bit of times already. I have experience in falling. And the thing is that there's a huge space here where you can just squish your nose, squish your face. So really, when you're just falling down flat on flat ground and it hits you like this, and you're properly strapped in, like pretty tightly, then you are somewhat, let me just like adjust it. Then it will protect you. Or if you fall face first, then yes. But everything in between, like you can still break your nose. So if you want the absolute highest level of protection for, you know, off-roading or going fast, going on racetracks with PEVs, then you still need either a bicycle downhill helmet or you need a motorcycle helmet, because then you have the chin piece further out. It is a lot tighter around all of your, you know, skull, and the space here in between your sort of chin and your forehead is smaller, so you wouldn't just hurt your nose if you fall face first. And of course, there's no certification still for the chin piece. So while it is here, and I think that it is better than nothing for sure, I wouldn't depend on it as much as I can depend on higher speeds with a Bell Super DH helmet or my Klim F3 motorcycle helmet. So while it's cool, it doesn't mean that you can just flat out be not careful at all and think that you're safe in any sort of situation in a city. It's more like, okay, I have it, it's good it's here, I'm still careful, I have a lot of visibility, which also helps with safety. I have a lighter helmet, so I can, turn my head around easier and I'm maybe better concentrated. But this doesn't mean that, this chin piece will save your nose in every situation, or your teeth in that matter. So a thing that didn't work that well for me is the accessory light. And I've already talked with the Beam about this, and I think they're fixing it. Well, it is cool, it is pretty bright. Does it even turn on now? Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. That's one issue. Oh, okay, now I had to short press. So it has various modes and it looks sick. It's pretty awesome and it's really bright and it has a brake light. Super cool. Only problem, it just turns off after 30 seconds and you can't do anything about it. So I guess it's a software issue and they will work on it. Apart from that, on the renders, the back of the helmet looked a lot nicer than, this shiny sort of bit of magnet sticking out and then this shape. Like the helmet doesn't really look as good without the light as it does with the light. Another con, and this is a bit of a nitpick from my side just because I've worn a lot of motorcycle lids, there is no lip for the visor to pull it up. Now in the motorcycle world, pretty much every single one of those helmets have that, and with this one you have to just either grab it on the edge or grab it on the top. Usually you get a small lip on the side and then you can just put it up without leaving any fingerprints or having a uncomfortable sort of way of putting it down. Now you can do it, it's fine, but that's a small touch I really would appreciate coming from the motorcycle world. Now this helmet and its footprint is pretty small, and that's a good thing because you want a small sort of comfortable lid for your e-bike or your EUC. But with that said, the opening here for your head is also tiny. So especially with that roller thing here in the back, the size adjustment thingy, I'm sure this is the correct way to name this. It's kind of tough to stick your head back in. It's really tight. So if I just put my head in like that, you can see that I'm touching my nose here, and then slowly I can squeeze my way in. So it is fine to put it on, but usually I try to get the strap out of the way and then it's a bit better. Just a thing to keep in mind. The slit for the nose is pretty big, so this is good for all of you big-nosed people. Your nose will actually fit in this visor. But for you smaller-nosed people, it means that quite a bit of air is actually coming through here. So for a small bit, I even taped this whole thing up because my nose doesn't even touch it here. And then I had a lot less air coming into my eyes. That's just something I'm really sort of sensitive about, especially when I wear contact lenses. They have to make it universal, but at the same time, if you would have it just a bit flatter or maybe like some sort of accessory to cover this nose cutout, then it would be a bit more comfortable for your eyes. And the second thing on the visor is that, it's a Pro that is very easy to change. You just sort of twist these two nicely looking circles out, but then sort of like 4 pieces fall out and then you have to assemble them back in like a Lego. I'm sure it will get easier with time, just a thing to note. And it's nice that you also don't need tools for actually exchanging the visor piece. Pretty cool. Another 2 cons is that it doesn't have a peak. There isn't even an option of a peak. Now I am a fan of peaked helmets, and this is a peakless helmet. So it's just peakant. But I would like to have a peak. Peak, I got you. And when it comes to the locking mechanism, it is fine. It's just very basic. I'm just used to FidLock. So once you try FidLock, it's a lot more comfortable. But then again, the price would be more expensive. So it's not really a con, is it? And the last con on my list is that it doesn't have any smart functions. Well, yet. I mean, the taillight is a bit of a smart function because it has a brake light, but it doesn't have any sort of, you know, speaker headset, but maybe this will come in the future. I mean, I would hope so. And on top of that, I can't put any sort of intercom into it because it has just holes in the ears. So I would need to make a really ugly piece of tape here or some sort of other contraption in order to fit the speakers, or just buy the external earmuffs. So once I have the earmuffs, maybe then I'll fit a intercom with it. So not a smart helmet. I guess if you just see something new on the market and Kickstarter, I would just, it'd be cool, you know? It'd be cool to have a smart helmet right away. I have a Sena smart helmet.
Hello.
All my other helmets have an intercom, so I'm just very used to talking on the phone in my helmet or, you know, just listening to music. All right, so you heard a big list of cons, but don't be afraid. I really like this helmet actually, and there's a reason why there have been like 4,000 pre-orders on it. Pretty amazing and pretty spectacular on Kickstarter. So even though, yes, it is like the padding, I'll get it fixed. All of the other issues, like those also need to be fixed. But even so, I have been using this helmet extensively throughout the 2 weeks, and I've been actually preferring to wear this in spite of having 4 or 5 other helmets to choose because of the visor, because of the field of view, because it's just so friendly. If I just want to go shopping and I prefer to have just slightly more protection than my open face Sena helmets, then I wear this. And if I want to go out, I have always glasses on. This helmet is great for glasses wearers because you don't need any goggles for it. So I just put that lid on, put my glasses on, and I can ride, and I'm protected from, you know, branches and from the high-speed sort of winds of going on an electric unicycle. Additionally, also this visor is not that dark. So some visors like the TSG or the Predator, they're really darkening down your whole sort of field of view. But this one doesn't dim down your surroundings too much, so you can even ride it when you don't have the maximum brightness sun over you. Not only is this the only bicycle helmet with a visor that I know of, like no DIYing, just out of the box with a visor, it is also the lightest one. And weight, if you're riding PEVs, if you're riding scooters, UCs, is a big deal. So wearing this for your grocery runs, for going to the doctors, for your usual errands up to like 45 kilometers an hour, I don't really trust that thing all that much. I know it's certified, but the chin piece, you know, it probably will protect you, but with those speeds, I would probably go with a sort of downhill bicycle helmet. But for everything below, this is splendid, and I've been using it a lot. So with that said, the Beam, thank you. Thanks for watching, and if you're still here, leave a like on the video, subscribe to see more content like this. I'll see you in the next video. See you soon.